It's incredible, Sid. From an outsider's perspective, you think, how on earth, after everything that has happened with Jose Mourinho, could he be seriously linked to Real Madrid in the summer? But that's what's happened. Over the last 48 hours, it seems, since he's left United, this story has snowballed. And you've said in the past on this very show that he still maintains an excellent relationship with the president, Florentino Perez. Why?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, we really could be here all day, and I realise that there's a risk of kind of going round and round in circles with this. So I'm going to try and be as clear-cut as I possibly can. When Mourinho left last time, the situation was completely unsustainable. They couldn't carry on like that. But just because they couldn't carry on like that didn't mean that, on some levels at least, the president didn't want to carry on like that. Now, Florentino Perez believes that Mourinho is the best of the managers that he has. He believes that also Mourinho is the one that he's had the kind of, if you like, the closest relationship with, the clearest sense of how to manage a dressing room. And so there's a bit of him, and this is the key point here, is there is a big part of Florentino Perez that has kind of, in the background, somewhere in the back of his mind, has always thought, I'd like Mourinho back. I'd like Mourinho to be here. I think Mourinho is the right man, but also known that it's problematic to do so. So there's a bit of him now that really kind of almost hankers for Mourinho's return, but also recognises and has people around him that recognise that this is problematic, which is one of the reasons why there's no guarantee that this will happen. But if you asked him, and he gave you a straight, honest answer, who would you want as manager? Not necessarily who are you going to go for, who would you want as manager? Mourinho, I think, would be one of 2 or 3 answers at very, very most.
What do the fans say about this, Sid?
Well, look, you have to remember that Real Madrid's fans are not entirely united on this, OK? So you have a situation in which there are a lot of Real Madrid fans, and you know, you only really need to ask this question on Twitter to see the kind of different sort of responses from Real Madrid fans. You have a lot of Real Madrid fans who say, please, no, let's not go through this again. Let's not have this problem again. Let's not have the divide with the dressing room. Let's not have the bitterness and the arguments and the sense. And genuinely, that last season for Mourinho really was a season too far. And I think maybe the response would be different if he left after the end of the second season. But then you have other Real Madrid fans, particularly those who would consider themselves perhaps a little bit more radical, consider themselves perhaps a touch more aggressive, who would see him as the man who, after 6 years of going out without winning a single Champions League knockout tie, went to 3 Champions League semi-finals. The man who challenged, in their view, Barcelona and took the game to them and was aggressive and stood up to them. The man who they believe was politically incorrect, but they love that about him, that there was kind of aggressive with what they would see as, if you like, kind of the establishment of Spanish football. And so he is in many ways a divisive figure, but that divisiveness doesn't mean that everybody is against it. It is quite literally divisive in that there is a strong, hard core of support who do want him there. That said, there's a huge amount of support as well that doesn't.
This is bonkers to me, Ali.
Of course it is bonkers. And we just mentioned the fact that when he was at Real Madrid, at the very end, it was unsustainable.
He wasn't talking to the press. It was him and Casillas, the whole thing had blown up.
Right. And when he's leaving Manchester United, it's because it became unsustainable. And when he left Chelsea, it's because it was unsustainable. And so how many times do we have to go through it until it becomes unsustainable once again? And so if you are Real Madrid, I can see why the interest for Jose Mourinho, from the perspective of Jose Mourinho, that he would say, you know what? Yeah, sure, I slide from Manchester United to Real Madrid. No problem, I'll do that any day. But from Real Madrid's perspective, what are you asking for? This is more problems than anything else. You're trying to light up something that you think was the past of Real Madrid and the past of Jose Mourinho, and make sure that that becomes the present. The past of Jose Mourinho was successful. The present of Jose Mourinho is not something that I would want any part of.
Sid, we've talked about Mauricio Pochettino being linked heavily, of course, to Manchester United, also linked to Real Madrid as well in the past. Are we genuinely in a situation, say that both maybe could be available in the summer, that Real Madrid would go more aggressively for Mourinho?
No. I mean, look, bear in mind that Real Madrid, as I say, it's worth stressing this point again, that there is a part of the president, a big part of the president that thinks, yeah, Mourinho's the man. But also there are sober moments, there are discussions with people at the club who do remember how it ended last time, who do say, look, is it really worth it? Now, you know you're taking a risk. You know that it comes with a whole load of potential collateral damage. But some of that collateral damage, by the way, they want. Right? So, for example, Mourinho last time, the relationship broke down with a big part of the dressing room. Not all of it, but a big part of it. And in particular with Sergio Ramos. The president right now wouldn't mind, genuinely wouldn't mind, the possibility of Mourinho taking on Ramos and winning. Now, of course, going into that battle is problematic. So that's an advantage to Mourinho. Now, Pochettino is a very attractive option as well. And in the summer, they tried very hard. But of course, with Pochettino, the question mark is what happens with Daniel Levy. The question mark is how far Spurs are able themselves to be convinced. So if it was a straight fight between Pochettino and Mourinho and both are available, my suspicion is they would take the slightly safer option, which is Pochettino. But that's not necessarily to say there isn't still a bit of, kind of deep down at heart, there's that kind of thing that says, let's do it. Let's bring Mourinho back.